did not know that you needed. Welcome back. This is our Speak Life channel. This is the moment, this is your 10-minute just for yourself. This is where we reset, we recharge, revive, whatever you want to call it. But this moment is for you. So I think I want to title today's reset When You're in the Storm. When you're in the storm. I want to talk to anyone who feels like they're in the middle of a storm right now. Maybe your storm is stress, fear, uncertainty, family issues, financial pressure, or just feeling overwhelmed by life. Sometimes storms don't just happen around us, right? Like the external factors, they happen inside of us. And when you're feeling as though you're in the middle of it, it can feel like you're sinking. I've been there. I've been in some storms where I thought I was going to drown. I've been in some storms where I thought I was going to die, right? But the reason I was able to hold on and to come out of it truly was because of the Lord Jesus Christ. But I want to talk about there's a not two particularly, but there's a story in the Bible that gives us a moment where we see the disciples who were also faced with this storm. But the key was that they were with Jesus, right? They were with Jesus. And maybe you know the story when they were in the boat and Jesus was at the bottom of the boat just sleeping, right? And they were so afraid that the water was coming in that they were going to perish. So I want you to think about that for a moment. The disciples were panicking. Maybe you're panicking right now. Maybe you don't know which way to turn, left or right, up or down, right? The boat was filling up with water. The water that's filling up is the tears in your eyes, your anxiety that is allowing you not to sleep at night, your blood pressure that is growing increasingly daily, nightly, right? They thought they were going to die. And Jesus, he was just asleep. The Bible made it clear, he was sleeping at the bottom of the boat. And sometimes life feels like that. You're praying, you're stressed, you're trying to just stay afloat, and it feels like God is silent. Have you ever felt like God was silent and he cannot hear you? That's sometimes how every one of us feel. Leaders, pastors, apostles, ministers, we feel like that sometimes. But the important thing is that Jesus was still in the boat. So even when they couldn't see what he was doing, he was still there. The Bible says Jesus stood up and said, when he got up, he stood up and he said, "Peace, be still." And immediately the storm stopped. Sometimes God doesn't remove the storm immediately. Some of us are praying, God, remove this, remove that, God, remove this. He's not going to remove it, but he wants to remind you that he is in the storm with you. His presence reminds us that we are not alone. We're not facing this issue alone, whatever your issue is. Right? And there's another storm story that teaches us something a little bit different. And if you want to join us tonight, I will be teaching a little bit deeper on this in Bible study tonight, right? When Peter was walking on water, right? Peter did something incredible. He stepped out of the boat. He said to Jesus, he said, "Bid me that I walk on water." He was asking God, he was asking God for permission for him to walk on water. So he stepped out on the boat and he began to walk on the water. But the moment he focused on the wind, the moment he focused on people, the moment he started to focus on other things, the waves, instead of Jesus, he began to sink. And honestly, that's what happens to a lot of us in life. When things come our way, we tend to focus on the fear, the problem, the pressure, the uncertainty, and we take our eyes off of God. It starts to pull us under. But I want you to notice something. Peter didn't give a long prayer. And if you want to read this on your own, you can. Go to Matthew chapter 14, verses 29 and 30, right? You'll read it there. Peter said simply, he said this, "Lord, save me." And the next verse says that Jesus immediately reached out with his hand. And the word immediately, I want you to know it's very important, right? Jesus didn't wait for Peter to figure it out. He's not waiting for you to figure it out. He didn't lecture him. Some of us are asking people for help, and the people that's trying to help us is giving us a lecture. I don't need a lecture. How many times you ask for somebody for help for something and they want to give you a whole background story and a whole lecture? Keep your lecture. I need help. So Peter said, "Lord, save me." And he did. He didn't give him a lecture. He reached out for him. So if you're in a storm right now, I want you to remember this. right? Your faith doesn't have to be perfect. Your prayer doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes the most powerful prayer you can pray is simply, Lord, help me, or Lord, save me. Storms are a part of life. When you say yes to God, yes to Christ, yes, you believe, and you're trying to walk on a spiritual path, it doesn't eliminate these things. But what is going to happen is going to reveal your strength, it's going to reveal your faith and how much you trust God, right? It reveals something. It reveals where your focus is. Is your focus on the storm, or is your focus on God? But when we focus on the storm, guess what begins to grow? Fear begins to grow. When we focus on Jesus, your faith will begin to grow. So allow your faith to grow. Right? The disciples learned something in those storms. They could never learn on calm water. What God is trying to teach you is not, He cannot teach you while you're comfortable. Sometimes the greatest lesson that we learn is when we are uncomfortable, is when we are going through storms. Does it mean that you're a babe? Not necessarily. You're immature? Not necessarily. But God is trying to reveal something. He's trying to reveal who He is in your life. They learned who Jesus was. You're going to learn who Jesus is. Sometimes God allows storms not to destroy us, but to show us that He is greater than the storm. God is greater than the storm that you're facing. Jesus is greater than the storm that you're facing right now. All right? So if you're facing a storm today, here are 3 simple reminders. First, I want you to know Jesus is still in the boat. Even when He seems silent, He is still present. Sometimes you feel like you're going through it alone, and you can't even pray, you can't even hear God. It doesn't mean that He's absent. Maybe He's just watching to see what you do. Maybe He's watching to see how much you're panicking. Maybe He's waiting for you to say, Jesus, save me. Right? Second, I want you to keep your eyes on Jesus. When the wind and the waves were there beating on that boat, right? They were focused on the storm. They forgot that Jesus was even there. Your focus determines whether you walk or you sink. Write that down if you can. Your focus in your storm will determine whether you walk or whether you sink. This is not the season for you to sink. This is the season for you to trust God. And third, don't be afraid to cry out for help. Do not be afraid to ask for help. I was saying to someone the other day, I wish we will normalize when someone asks us, how are you? I wish sometimes people would just be honest. Oh, I'm good. And you know that you're struggling. You know that you need help. Stop lying to yourself. And here's the thing. You need the spirit of discernment, because truthfully, not everybody can help you. Right? You got to know who you're going to bleed to or bleed on, because not everybody can help you, and everybody doesn't want to help you. Some people actually want you to be where you are stuck. Right? But don't be afraid to ask for help. Know the people around you. Do you trust your people around you? And if you cannot trust the people around you, and you say with all vulnerability in you, and you can't say, listen, I'm struggling right now, those are not your people. Those are not your people. So just like Peter, just like disciples, and Jesus responded. Peter said, Lord, bid me to walk. Then he was sinking, and he said, Lord, save me. And then the disciples went down at the bottom of the boat and said, Lord, save us. Don't you care if we perish or not? And Jesus responded. Before we end today, I want you to understand this. I want to just be here to be an encourager to you, because we're all facing something. We're all facing storms. I want to encourage you with this. Storms don't last always. Always tell yourself, my aunt told me this too shall pass. And not like she told me like if it was nothing new, but at the time of her telling me, I didn't even know it was written in the Bible. So I always said, oh, my aunt said this. My aunt said it. No, it was already in the Bible, right? This too shall pass. Nothing lasts forever. Storms does not last forever. They don't last forever. And the same Jesus who calmed the sea is the same Jesus who walks with you through whatever you're facing right now. So if you're feeling overwhelmed today, I want to tell you it's okay, right? I want you to take a moment. I want you to breathe. Are you ready to do our breathing exercise? Yeah? Let's breathe. Take a deep breath. Take a deep breath in and slowly let it out. One more time. Breathe in and breathe out. and tell yourself, this too shall pass. Come on, I can hear you. Say it again. This too shall pass. Good. And remember this, peace be still. Talk to the storms. Talk to them like Jesus did. Peace be still. Peace be still. And this too shall pass. So thank you for listening. If this encouraged you at all, share with someone who might be going through a storm too. You'll be surprised. The person next to you might be going through a storm as well. And remember, keep your eyes on Jesus, right? Keep your eyes on Jesus. So God bless you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for liking. Thank you for sharing. And thank you for subscribing. God bless you. This has been our Speak Life moment. God bless.